safety of our residents. So that is a thing that's concerning. We don't know if there's going to be retaliation or whatever.
And the country's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of the year, marking the fourth consecutive rise in economic activity. This follows a revised increase of 0.9% in the second quarter. The GDP reading released by Stats SA today is in line with market expectations. The Stats agency says 9 of the 10 industries on the production side were stronger in the third quarter, with mining, agriculture, forestries and fisheries, as well as trade recording the highest growth rates. The Deputy Director General of Economic Statistics at Stats SA, Joe De Beer.
Over the longer term, we value the real GDP or the volume-based GDP at 1.187 billion. That's at the constant 2015 prices, and you can compare that to the levels that we had pre-COVID and during COVID. Looking at our time series, this is now the fourth consecutive quarter of economic expansion, 0.5, and that follows on the 0.9 that was revised from the 0.8.
On that note, we move to the markets now, where gold is trading at $4,193.52 an ounce. The rand 17.11 to the dollar, 22.62 to the pound, 19.87 to the euro, and Brent crude is trading at $63.06 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you're leaving Germiston heading towards Bedfordview, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 northbound. This is approaching the Galdenays interchange, while in the mother city also bumper traffic. This is on the M5 northbound from the N1 all the way to the Joburg interchange, and there's also delays. This is on the elevated freeway heading into the Cape Town CBD.
A partly cloudy day is in store for Gauteng, with afternoon showers and thunder showers expected. Temperatures will peak at highs between 25 and 27. In Cape Town, a cloudy day is in store. It becomes clear skies in the late afternoon with a moderate southerly breeze, a low of 18 and a high of 27 degrees. The top story this hour, Dada Morero, the Johannesburg mayor, has survived another motion of no confidence.
In tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. 7:02, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday,
12 to 1 p.m.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 7:02 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. My name is Monge Ziko, standing in for Mandy Wiener, of course. We've got a jam-packed show in store for today. We start with a motion of no confidence against Joburg Mayor Dada Morero, which has been withdrawn. Now, remember, Morero is the current chairperson of the ANC in the city of Johannesburg and is expected to be nominated once more for the same position. We chat to EWN's Alpha Ramoshwana. We turn to the country's economy expanding by 0.5% in the third quarter of this year, this making the fourth consecutive rise in economic activity. It follows a revised increase of 0.9% in the second quarter. We're going to get some expectations and break that down for you to understand. The breaking news, the Johannesburg High Court has found 2 of the 3 apartheid police officers charged with the murder of student learner Keifas Nyoka guilty of the crime. We chat to EWN's Homotso Mudise. And at the Madlanga Commission, former Ekurhuleni City Manager Imogen Mashazi is back again. Now, she says she believes she's been prejudiced during her testimony before the said inquiry, and began her testimony yesterday and resumed this morning at the Commission in Pretoria. Oren Singh has more of that.
Walking this talk together.
every hour,
Every day. This is 702.
let's walk the talk.
Now, also quite important to notice that this year, the taxi association SANTACO has launched a national road safety and commuter wellness campaign. Now, this as the country heads to their festive season travel period. Now, I want to know from you guys, having experienced traveling in and out of Gauteng, are you changing anything about your travel this festive season? And I also want to hear some of the worst festive travel nightmares that you have. Did they teach you anything? And will you travel less this year because of the costs? I mean, rising costs in travel and all those various issues. Now, please send us a WhatsApp and maybe give us a call and we'll be able to take that. But let's start now with Joburg Mayor Morero surviving yet another motion of no confidence. Good afternoon, Alpha. Thank you so much for your time.
Mongi, it's always a pleasure.
Now, let's start on this. It's, of course, the eve of the ANC's Joburg elective conference. Dada Morero nearly faced and survived a vote of no confidence again. Now, it was brought by smaller parties within the council, namely the UDM, ATM, and AIC. Clearly, the parties selected to voice their grievances outside of the council. What do we understand so far, Alpha?
So last night, the Political Management Committee of the Johannesburg City Council met. This is a committee that is made up of the ANC, the EFF, and the many other political parties that are in the ANC-led coalition. And in that meeting, they discussed the motion of no confidence that was tabled by the UDM, the Al Jamaa Party, and the ATM against Dada Morero, really accusing him of failing the city when it comes to service delivery and taking decisions in silos. So they decided at that meeting that they will no longer take their motion of no confidence to council and will rather resolve their issues outside of the council chambers. So now that means they came this morning to the council and officially announced that they're withdrawing their motion, hoping that they will be meeting over the next few days to discuss their grievances with the ANC mayor. But they are saying that the issue isn't necessarily with the ANC itself, which it is running the city with, but it's with its leader and its top councillor in the municipality, Dada Morero. They're saying that when he established systems like the bomb squad, he didn't really talk to them or consult with them. He just made the decision on his own, and they were surprised when they saw it on the media that there's something called the bomb squad which is being implemented or established. So really they're accusing him of running the city alone, despite the coalition in the city made up of about 10 political parties. So we did speak to Yongama Zikebe, who is a councillor of the UDM, and he's explained to us why exactly they chose to withdraw that motion of no confidence. Let's take a listen.
Instead of having to impose a motion on one of our own, because we are not saying that we are changing government, but we are, having this particular individual, because you would remember that in the statement that was issued as the MGP, we had said that we need the ANC to give us another mayor, because we are not working very well with this one. We've got issues on service delivery and so on, and also having been taken into confidence as partners and not just see things springing up in the city. So those are some of the things that other partners rest say, yes, we feel your pinch, we feel your pain, but at the same time, let us have a way instead of a motion that we can find going forward in order to deal with the matters at hand.
So now we had the moment to speak to the city of Johannesburg's Mayor Dada Morero. Now that he survived another motion of no confidence, he will now have to focus on the ANC's regional elective conference, which starts tomorrow. Now at this conference, Dada Morero is going to be vying for re-election as the ANC's regional chairperson, competing against Loyiso Masuku, who's also widely supported by the branches of the ANC in really a tight race so far, looking at the branch nominations. So now Morero will only have to focus on the fight at the ANC's regional conference. But he says for now, service delivery remains his main concern, fixing those street lights, fixing the potholes. Let's take a listen to what the mayor had to say.
Well, I guess the contents of the motion themselves indicated that there was no way that the motion will even stand. We believe that as government now, we're beginning to improve on service delivery, focusing on ensuring that all our entities do their work as required. And I guess we have demonstrated in the last 2 months that indeed there's signs of recovery, there's signs of improvement. So the motion was brought by Al Jamaa, seconded by the UDM, and they both indicated in the meeting yesterday that they will be withdrawing the motions. However, there are issues that they would like to discuss further in relation to matters on governance and services.
Well, safe in Joburg, but does he remain the preferred candidate for the ANC in the city? Look, that's something we'll find out, particularly with the local gov elections coming up next year. But to get more on this story, we're joined by Action SA leader Herman Mashaba, who's also the former Joburg mayor. Now, he's had some choice words for Mayor Dada Morero, calling him, quote-unquote, the most useless mayor in Johannesburg. Dada Mashaba, thank you so much for your time. The mayoral seat in Johannesburg has seen all types of mayors. Now, this includes some of the most corrupt, some with very questionable qualifications for the said position. Why is Action SA taking this particular stance with Dada Morero?
Well, good afternoon, Mongezi, and good afternoon to 702 listeners. I think for us as Action SA, we pleased with the decision we took after accepting to work with the ANC in Johannesburg last year when we formed the coalition government in Tshwane. But at the time, we preferred to really be in the legislature and requested the ANC to put forward a competent mayor. And 2 months down the line, we discovered no, the person that the ANC has put forward, it's not really the kind of person that can fix the city of Johannesburg. And we raised this matter in the public with the ANC province and national, and things just got worse. I think Dada Morero also thought Action SA would just be voting cattle, and we demonstrated to him that, in a coalition government, if you don't really show respect to us, don't expect to really get our support. And fortunately enough, our relationship with the city of Johannesburg, we there purely as an opposition because we don't want to really be associated in any way with Dada Morero. And I was pleased the other day when this matter of a motion of no confidence was brought to our attention, where our caucus in the city of Johannesburg said, you know what, our vote doesn't count, and also we cannot just really support something that we don't know why whoever brings the motion. So we'll just fold our hands. We believe the ANC with their partners, they've got the numbers. So this is really political theater that this party is up.
Right. Sorry about that, Mr. Mashaba. But it leads me to my second question then. Would it not be viewed as politicking, particularly from the stance of Action SA, looking at local gov elections that are quite imminent? And I mean, some of the contention around the city of Johannesburg, quick turnaround plans that are being proposed by several parties, the sort of stance being taken by Action SA, could it not be viewed as just trying to garner the needed votes for next year's elections?
Well, I think it would really be political suicide and stupidity to just really vote for reports that you don't really know why this person brought this motion, because no one discussed the motion with us. And how do you expect us to vote? We're not voting cattle. So if you expect our vote, just give us the courtesy to really give us the plan. If you want Dada Morero or anyone else to be removed, then give us the reasons and give us the plan going forward. We're not going to be voting cattle, voting for reports where we don't really know what the agenda is. And it is for that reason we want the people of Johannesburg to know Action SA, people can trust us. When we say we'll do a thing, we'll do it. When we can't, we're not going to do it. So right now, yes, we as a party quite happy with the posture that our caucus in Johannesburg has taken to not really participate in this theater, because it's really more theater than actually having a plan to fix the city of Johannesburg. Our focus is on ensuring that come 2026 local government election, Action SA, we need to emerge as the biggest party to form government in the city of Johannesburg.
Right. Action SA leader Herman Mashaba, thank you so much for your time.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Look, we need all your opinions when it comes to this. A lot is happening in the world of news, particularly in Johannesburg and major other municipalities. So it's important that you make sure to voice some of your opinions. Remember that topic that I spoke about earlier in the show about traveling. I also want to hear a lot from you guys. How is your travel planned? Do you have any tips and tricks for people to use. Remember to send us a WhatsApp message on 072 702 1702.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Live your best hoop life with Hollywood Bets. Bring your big game energy to the court as we welcome a thrilling new NBA season. Bet 50 Rand or more on any basketball fixture, and you could score a share of 250,000 Rand in cash or an epic NBA shopping spree. Bounce into blistering action. Your ultimate slam dunk moment awaits. Bet now. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Some numbers bring instant stress, like a speeding fine, another petrol price hike, or that one debit order you forgot about. Again. But not all numbers bring panic. Some bring calm and actual life-saving support. With 24/7 emergency support and over 300 ambulances, ER24 is there when you need us most. Don't wait for an emergency. See it, say it, save it. 084 124.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
Former Ekurhuleni City Manager Imogen Mashazi is back before the Matlanga Commission today. Now, she began her testimony yesterday and resumed it this morning at the same commission. We saw a bit of tiffs between her and some of the commissioners yesterday, call for her to get off her phone, essentially, and to show a bit of interest. Now, she's also been facing some tough questions where she hasn't been able to answer adequately or to satisfy the commissioners. Now, to get more on this particular story, we're joined by EWN's Oren Singh, who's been closely following this. Oren, a pleasure to have you.
Afternoon, Mongezi.
Now, Oren, walk us through what the second day has really come out with. I mean, yesterday we saw a lot of focus on her inaction around Julius Mkhwanazi. What has come forward today?
Well, today we focused a little bit on the former or the suspended EMPD chief, Isaac Mapiyeye. And we looked at tensions within the city of Ekurhuleni as well as EMPD around Isaac Mapiyeye and his appointments. And essentially Imogen Mashazi conceding that she didn't take the necessary action that she should have against Isaac Mapiyeye, conceding that she didn't address him as her responsibility as a city manager, as a head of departments, in which she should have. If you recall yesterday, Mungezi, she claimed that female officers within EMPD as early as 2016 approached her to say that there were allegations of sexual harassment and abuse being conducted by Isaac Mapiyeye against female officers. And bearing that in mind, Imogen Mashazi was part of the panel that appointed him as a chief of EMPD in 2020. And when the commission addressed it with her, but did you raise your concerns or the allegations that were previously brought to you around Isaac Mapiyeye and these sexual harassment allegations? Did you raise this with the other panelists that were part of that panel to appoint him? She said she didn't. And I think that was a major fault in some of her testimony this morning. But we also heard from her attorney just a short while ago, Mongezi, who claims that his client, Imogen Mashazi, is being prejudiced by the commission themselves, saying that she didn't have adequate time to prepare. She was only given 2 days to prepare her testimony to come here and testify before the commission, and that wasn't sufficient time for her to gather all the necessary documents, bearing in mind that she no longer works for the city of Ekurhuleni, and she had left in July this year. The commission, in turn, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga says he doesn't want her to leave today with that view that she has been prejudiced by the commission. And so they're giving her until next week, Wednesday, to compile a supplementary affidavit, which she will then, or statement, she will then provide to the commission going forward.
Right. Thank you so much. That's Oren Singh, senior reporter at EWN. Let's take a listen to the commission. Just dip in now so you guys can sort of get an idea of what Imogen Mashazi has to say.
To the municipality, mainly because the fees, and there was no structure in terms of the fees in the appointment of these attorneys. Then we suggested that to curtail even the fees because the fees were exorbitant. The DH had powers to appoint any attorney, any law firm to assist him, and they were paid at the rate that he decided upon. Then we centralized that the function to say the legal and corporate do have a panel of attorneys, and they have a specific rate which is affordable to the municipality. And such attorneys should be utilized to assist the labor relations, because for us it was an issue of budget. And we have records where they over exceeded their budget. And we have a lot of complaints from lawyers. I remember on top of my head, it's the Mohasha attorneys at some point they were not paid. I don't know if they are paid now. They were dealing with labor issues. So we had to actually amend this. But there's also internal communication between HOD, HR, and his divisional head, and her divisional head, then employee relation about the delegations of appointing attorneys and so forth. But my duty was to ensure that you curtail cost because budget was an issue.
Thank you for that. I see at your paragraph 115, you deal with the primary purpose of the amendment, and you say it was to curtail escalating legal costs. And you continue to say the attorneys independently appointed by departmental heads were charging significantly higher fees than those on the city's approved panel, which operated on a standardized regulated rates.
Correct.
So I don't understand what exactly were you amending, because it sounds like the issue was to prohibit the appointment of expensive attorneys and to impose on all departments to make their selection from the city's approved panel. Was that not the solution to the problem? Based on what you say here.
Yeah, the solution was to obviously curtail costs, especially in this particular department. Though the memo went to all the departments that they can't appoint their own legal reps. There's a panel that is appointed at a specific rate which is affordable to the city. That is where I came in.
And that was the extent of the amendment?
Correct, ma'am.
But otherwise, besides directing that appointments be made from the panel, the attorneys panel, you didn't effect any other changes?
Changes in relation to his powers?
Yes.
I don't recall. Can we see his...
Okay, let's see. We will do so with reference to NISA's statement. If you can get your hands on NISA's statement. Not the annexures, just the statement.
Page.
And if you are there, if you go to page 24. And from page 24, paragraph 74. In this statement, Mr. Minister deals with the Bittu anonymous email. And just to summarize what his testimony is that these emails were received for this person or this entity that called itself Mashazi on the 20th of August 2023. And if you look at paragraph 76, besides, he quotes the email, but my interest is at page 25. My interest is at page 25.
All right, that's audio courtesy of ENCA Imogen Mashazi, former city manager of Ekurhuleni, rather giving a testimony. That's the word I've got. It's a testimony. Now remember to keep those voice notes coming in. You can send them to 072-702-1702. And I'm still wanting to hear, if you're hitting the roads this festive season, we want to hear from you. Are you changing how you travel because of safety or costs? Send us a voice note with your name, where you're going, and your best travel tip or story. The number to dial once again is 072-702-1702. It's time for your latest EWN.
The country's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter of the year, marking the fourth consecutive rise in economic activity. This follows a revised increase of 0.9% in the second quarter. The GDP reading released by Stats SA today is in line with market expectations. We move to the capital, where former Ekurhuleni city manager Imogen Mashazi believes she has been prejudiced during her testimony before the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Mashazi began her testimony yesterday and resumed this morning at the Commission in Pretoria. She has faced tough questions, which in most instances she hasn't been able to answer adequately to satisfy the commissioners and evidence leader. And Johannesburg Mayor Dada Morero has breathed a sigh of relief after the motion of no confidence against him was withdrawn. The motion, originally filed by the Al Jama'ah Party, and seconded by minority parties UDM and ATM, was meant to be heard in council today. Although these smaller parties form part of the ANC-led coalition, they said they'd lost confidence in the mayor. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 1 o'clock or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. Banyana will play their final game of the year tonight when they clash with Morocco in an international friendly. Captain Rifule Jane admits that some players are struggling with fatigue as the clash comes at the end of a long season for the locally based players.
We all know that it's been a very long league, a long year for most of the players, especially the ones who are playing back at home. But we always remind ourselves of the bigger picture of the honor to represent our country. Many people want to be here, but they don't get to be here. So with us, it's a privilege and an honor, so we need not to take that for granted. Let's close the game, the year on a high. Let's go out and represent our nation and make every girl proud out there who's looking up to the players.
The Proteas women are gearing up for their opening T20 against Ireland, which takes place on the 5th of December in Newlands. Former captain Dane van Niekerk is back in the fold for the 3-match series and has discussed what it means for her to return after a 4-year absence.
I keep joking, so who would have thought? You know, if you asked me probably, 6 months ago, if I would be out, I'd probably say no. Yeah, just with everything that happened, and obviously I spoke to Amanda before that, but I didn't think the day would come. Obviously it means a lot, it means the world. Again, I'm just excited. It's good to be back around the team. Yeah, hopefully I can really contribute to the team in any, shape, form that I can.
And Australia opener Usman Khawaja has been ruled out of the second Ashes test against England, which starts on Thursday due to a back problem. Khawaja was unable to open either innings in the series opener because of a back spasm and showed some discomfort in the nets on Monday. At the same time, Will Jacks will play his first test in 3 years. That's after England called him up to replace the injured Mark Wood. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving and heading into the Joburg CBD, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Main Reef Road between Anderson and Nazareth Road. Also, slow-moving traffic if you are on Church Street. This is heading towards Fairways. This is on Church Street, heading towards Main Reef Road. Also, bumper-to-bumper traffic in Edenville. This is approaching the intersection of Morafontein Road and Van Riebeek. While in the mother city, there's slow-moving traffic. This is on the elevated freeway heading into the Cape Town CBD. Also, slow-moving traffic. This is due to roadworks on the N1 heading towards the R300 on FW de Klerk Boulevard. This is roadworks also causing delays outbound heading towards Lower Church. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car full of groceries and a lady who will be attempting to make her mother-in-law's famous recipe for the family dinner tonight.
5 mils of sugar.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's butterflies and a potential bonding moment. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Tired of long queues and waiting times at labor centers? The Unemployment Insurance Fund, UIF, has made things easier for you. Now you can access UIF services anytime, anywhere through the UIF online services platform. Submit and track your claims outcome. Upload supporting documents. Submit a payment request. Check payment status or update your personal details, all from the comfort of your home or office. It's fast, simple, and user-friendly. All you need is an internet connection. So why wait? Visit uifonline.labor.gov.za/UIF online today and experience convenient, efficient service at your fingertips. UIF, working for you.
Some moments only come around once, like the Audi year-end sale. Get the Audi Q2 from 9,899 per month. With no deposit, a 90-day payment break, so you only start paying next year. Plus, a guaranteed buyback. There's limited time to show up, but unlimited time to stand out in the Audi Q2. Visit audi.co.za or your nearest Audi dealer before the 24th of December. T's and C's apply.
Because this journey is better taken together.
Let's walk the talk. 702.
Hi, 702. Josh from Northcliffe. This December, my fiance and I are going down to Pietermaritzburg in KZN. And the best travel tip that I have, maybe I don't want to give it so in case everyone does it, but leave early, 4 in the morning, pitch black dark. You get there lunchtime, everyone's still asleep, the roads are open. It's just so much safer. Yes, it's dark, but with no one else on the road, it's brilliant, especially going down Van Rieden's. You don't have the pressure of people behind you and hoping that their brakes hold.
Good afternoon, Monkeys. Out of my madness, I mean, why we must wait until we establish commissions? I mean, it seems as if from all the department, we'll have to establish commissions. I mean, these things are happening and they take time to happen, and we are just sitting and I don't know if this is the way we're going to operate Tabangi.
As far as my travel goes for December, I am traveling nowhere. I'll be staying in Joburg, and I think anyone who's smart with their money will not be traveling now. They'll be traveling off-peak season.
Well, look, with the travel advice, I kind of agree with leaving early. I also thought it's a secret that I hold. I mean, 3 a.m., I'm out of there. You avoid a lot of traffic. But when it comes to the establishment of commissions, that voice note from Tabo, if I'm not mistaken, is that it's important that we find the legal avenues to scrutinize evidence and ensure that whatever due process then comes from that works in favor of those implicated and those affected in a just and fair manner. We live in a constitutional country, remember. That's very important. Keep those voice notes coming, though, on 072-7021-702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Another breaking story now out in the High Court in Johannesburg. A judgment has been handed down in the murder of anti-apartheid activist Caiphus Nyoka. Now, Abraham Engelbert and Peter Stander have been found guilty of killing Nyoka, while former police officer Leon Louis Vandenberg was found not guilty. Khomotso Modise, EWN reporter, was out there monitoring the story for us. Khomotso, thank you so much for your time. Can you walk us through the events of today?
Well, Mongezi, it's been a rather eventful day here at the Johannesburg High Court, where the
family as well as community members from Davidton have come to learn of the fate of the three men accused of Caiphas Nyoka's murder. We heard today Judge Mohammed Ismail delivering a detailed judgment based on the evidence that was presented before him, and he has convicted two of the men while acquitting one of the men. We've heard that Major van den Berg, who is the man that the state claimed had actually called the raid or instructed the raid, he's been acquitted, and we heard the judge really speaking about how he hadn't, or the state had failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that he was involved in this crime. Let's take a listen.
On the accepted evidence, the court finds that the assailants entered Mr. Nyoka's room not to effect an arrest, but to assassinate him. When the deceased was shot, he posed no threat to any of the policemen who entered the room. 90.4. Accused number 2 is found guilty of the crime of murder. The court finds that even though he did not shoot Mr. Nyoka, he gave the instruction that Mr. Nyoka should be killed. 90.5. Accused number 3, Mr. Standa, is convicted of murder. The court finds that he was one of the shooters who fired shots at the deceased, which caused the deceased's death.
Look, Khomotso, it's quite a welcomed outcome for many who see the apartheid police and apartheid agents as people who've committed quite grievous crimes against people, really. But I want to talk about the reaction that we had outside of court. Can you maybe walk us through what was said and how were people feeling?
Mongezi, there hasn't really been a reaction yet, and that's because the court matter hasn't been adjourned yet. So ordinarily what would happen, and according to the law, once accused or convicted of the crime and found guilty, their bail would then expire, and they would then be remanded in custody ahead of their sentencing. But what we're seeing in this instance, Mongezi, is that the two police officers who have been convicted are applying for bail. They've brought a bail application, and they're saying this is bail pending the sentencing. And they have been making their arguments, or their lawyers have been making arguments on their behalf in the High Court. One of the lawyers arguing for accused number 2 that he is unwell, he has an operation that is scheduled for February, and remanding him in custody will not help at all. The lawyers have also argued that it's going to be exceptionally difficult for them to consult Mongezi while the accused are behind bars. And so while it is the law that their bail should expire, they are arguing that there are circumstances that warrant their release on bail. However, I must mention that Judge Mohammed does not seem sold at all. Number one, he's pointed out that one of the accused is actually currently out on 300,000 Rand bail, and now he's asking for 20,000 Rand bail. And the judge finds that rather concerning, but also, he says, do you think the court doesn't apply itself? We can't give you less bail now because you have been convicted now of murder. Surely now the bail must be, or the conditions must be tighter because you are convicted. So that's currently what's going on in court. But I can tell you, Mongezi, that the people in the gallery, include the family members, have really been reacting as much as they can in court, really making sounds in agreement with the court. We will then see if the two convicted men will be granted bail.
EWN reporter Khomotso Modise on the line for us there. Thank you so much for your time, Khomotso.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
Okay, that was Khomotso Modise, of course, giving us the lowdown, basically, telling us about the judgment that has been handed down and taking us through what might come next. But we're going to shift our focus now a bit towards our port of entries. Now, on Wednesday afternoon last week, the BMA Port Agriculture officials intercepted an aircraft from Kenya and Tanzania carrying veterinary medicines. Now, the boxes weighed about 84 kilograms and were in transit through the Polokwane Airport to Pietermaritzburg Airport. Now, we just want a bit of an explainer to hear what exactly this means and how the BMA was able to intercept such a huge quantity of medicines. We're joined on the line by Dr. Maleho Machedi, who is a senior commander at the BMA Port Agriculture. Doctor, thank you so much for your time. Let's talk about the transportation of veterinary medicine. We hear a lot about medicine perhaps for those chronically ill, but to hear about veterinary medicine being siphoned out of the country, what does this mean?
No, thank you. Afternoon to you and your listeners. Yes, this is a very worrying development. Normally, in terms of our regulations, we are very clear in terms of what you need to bring in veterinary medicines. Remember, these products are registered because for safety and efficacy purposes, they have to undergo certain testing and also be registered in terms of our local regulations. So it's very a worrying fact that we would have veterinary medicines being smuggled in and only to find that they are being brought in under false pretense.
Now, Doctor, let's talk about the significance of the discovery, particularly towards the festive season. Are we anticipating a bit more siphoning attempts, particularly in the direction of medicines, both for animals and for human beings? Is this a cause for concern? Is it a growing trend that the BMA is taking note of?
I think this development maybe is pointing to a different aspect. I think what we discovered was what was declared when the aircraft was actually inspected, and even on the documents, it was to say that it's actually veterinary medicine. But what we further got to understand is that it's something that is being used, that they would come through Polokwane Airport and actually see that they're in transit through Pietermaritzburg. But the actual purpose is to actually deliver what we call vaccine, not actually the veterinary medicine. So I don't think the concern is more on the issue of illegal importation of veterinary medicine, but is to actually bring in what is labeled as medicine, but only to find it's a vaccine or some other product.
Okay, Dr. Maleho Machedi, who is a senior commander at the BMA Port Agriculture, thank you so much for your time, and I'm hoping that you'll still be watching our borders. Let's turn to this now.
At Isuzu, we know every delivery, every kilometer, and every load is building something bigger. This truck month, set your business up for success with special deals across the Isuzu N and F Series ranges. Don't get left behind. Speak to your Isuzu truck specialist or call 08600 Isuzu and secure your truck month deal today. Isuzu, with you for the long run. T's and C's apply.
Make summer even more extra with free gifts from Vodacom, like the Oppo Find X9 Pro for just 1,399 per month over 36 months on a 6 gig Red Core plan. Comes with a wireless charger, Oppo Watch X2, 80-watt charger, magnetic phone case, and Oppo Care worth 18,999 on us. Plus, get 5 gigs YouTube data for 3 months. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Year in, year out, we're fixing tires faster than a Formula One pit crew. My team is on top of things like tire whisperers. If an unforeseen accident were to happen in my workshop, at least I've got My Way business insurance to keep the wheels turning.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Because this journey is better taken together.
Let's walk the talk. 702.
702, yeah, the gentleman is right. In most of these municipal departments, as much as we've called it the HOD, there is a department called like a legal department. They've got legal personnel to deal with those things on a daily basis. So we don't have to establish this commission because they're wasting all monies for that was supposed to be providing a safe delivery somewhere else. We cannot invoke a different will for things to happen. If all these HR personnel, they are legal practitioners actually. They've got the right to do consultation and then do all those things. Those who are in the wrong, they must be dealt accordingly. So it's a waste of time.
Good afternoon, Monge Zikoko. I've already been meaning to say that. Yes, travel guide, I would say use cash. All the toll gates use cash. Don't go around with your debit card thinking you use all your debit card, especially if you go into Limpopo. You will be stuck. Take out cash, just pay cash. It's easy. I've been stuck before, thinking this the debit card. You can use any debit card on all the toll gates. No.
Hey, what's up? I'm from Cape Town. Why would I want to leave here? This is beautiful here. Obviously, it's just chaos busy, but you know what? We just take that with some salts and enjoy it and slow down. Cape Townians barely work anyway, so we're always on holiday.
Okay, well, quite a variation of thoughts right there and a lot of advice coming through with regards to traveling. Remember, I was asking you guys, what's your travel tips that you have for a majority of us? And I raised that it's important to travel like when it's still a little bit dark, you know, to avoid the usual traffic. But we are going to shift a little bit away from that and chat about the GDP. Now, we only saw a bit of growth. It expanded by about 0.5% in the third quarter of the year, which is the third or the fourth consecutive rise in economic activity. But it's important to understand what this means. So we're joined on the line today by Joe de Beer, who's the DDG of Economic Statistics at Stats SA, who's going to provide us with a bit of outline regarding this. Mr. de Beer, thank you so much for your time. The GDP, I mean, it only grew by 0.5%, really. So what is the main factor holding South Africa back from stronger economic growth?
Good afternoon. Thanks for having us. You're quite correct. We only grew 0.5, and it's less than the 0.9 of the previous quarter, but I still think it is quite decent growth given the context of the last couple of years in which we've struggled to actually grow much more than a 0.5. So I wouldn't be too despondent about the number. But looking specifically at this quarter, we can thank a strong performance from mining as well as agriculture that supported the growth. But it was also very widely spread. Out of the 10 industries that we monitor, it was only electricity, gas and water that actually contracted. All 9 of the other industries made a positive contribution, whether it was a 0.1 here and there, but it's very broad-based.
Right. Okay, now here's another question that I have, because I do think I'm not being too positive with regards to this marginal growth, but it's hardly fireworks. Is there anything in the data that excites you? Or should South Africans keep their expectations like firmly in low gear? I mean, you pointed out several industries like agriculture that were spearheading this development or this growth. So what's your take on that?
I think it's important if the growth in an economy is widespread rather than only driven by, let's say, 2 industries, because then it would point to a situation where the economy is over-reliant on, for example, just agriculture, and we know the weather can change. But if everybody contributes, or at least not detract in a meaningful manner, it's generally a broad story. On the positive side, although we try to remain neutral, and we are neutral in Stats SA, I think that the growth that we saw in fixed capital formation in the third quarter will be welcomed. It expanded by 1.6%, and this follows negative growth in the previous 3 quarters. And actually, if we go back to the third quarter of 2023, so that's 2 years, we only had a small uptick in the third quarter of last year, and then now a meaningful 1.6%. So, as we all know, the economic theory will say if you start investing, meaning you will start building, developing infrastructure, that is always a good sign for future economic growth.
All right, Mr. de Beer, just a final one from me. Like, how much of this 0.5% growth is driven by international factors? Talking geopolitical shifts. I mean, it's something that as South Africans, we are sort of seeing on a rise. Are we exposed to external tailwinds? And are there factors that we could perhaps use to make these disappear?
That answer would require quite a bit of speculation. Let me rather just stick to the facts that we have. And we recorded an increase in exports of 0.7%.
Okay.
And that was on the back of improved exports of agricultural products and mining products. But also on the other hand, our imports surged by 2.2%. And as we know from the theory, an increase in imports actually subtracts from the economy. But as long as you import machinery equipment that will be used for capital formation that will drive future economic growth, I don't think it's a bad thing.
All right, then. Thank you so much for your time. That's Joe de Beer, who's the DDG of Economic Statistics at Stats SA.
702, the Midday Report, Monday to Friday.
12 to 1 p.m.
My name is Monge Zikoko. I'm standing in for Mandy Wiener, who's away for some time, but you're still in good hands. Now we're going to quickly shift to the conversation you and I have been having all afternoon. This is around peak time travel. You know, SANTACO, which is the Taxi Alliance, has launched its National Road Safety and Commuter Wellness campaign. Now, you may say that this is not really important to those who have motor vehicles, those who don't really travel much. We heard from the listeners in Cape Town saying, where is he even going to go? But it's important to hear what these festive season campaigns, particularly driven by the taxi industry, mean. So we're joined on the line by Rebecca Pala, who's the spokesperson for SANTACO. Rebecca, it's lovely to chat to you again. Let's talk about this Hlokomela festive season campaign.
Sure. Good afternoon, Mongezi. Thanks so much for the opportunity. So for us, it's a work that we start from the beginning of every year, just that we ramp it up when the busy period sort of starts. So what we've been doing for the most part of the year is working in collaboration with the Transport Education Training Authority, TETA, to identify some of the skills that are lacking in the industry. Issues of customer service, issues of how to run a business, issues of professionalization of the taxi industry, which have sort of been undertaken. So what then happens around now is we sort of lessen the work of the office and effectively go to the roads. So we will be working in collaboration with government through your law enforcement agencies to go to our tax ranks, to go to some of the identified, often problematic national roads, to be visible. Data that's been released in the past, Mongezi, shows that as and when there is visibility of law enforcement and relevant civil society organizations on the road, there's been a considerable reduction in terms of the accidents. So this is us showing up and giving support also to our drivers, especially to say, we understand it's the hardest of time. The pressure is quite heavy on them, but they need to remember the goal. The goal is to make sure that every South African that relies on the taxi industry arrives safely to their destination.
Look, Rebecca, not to put you on the spot, but some of the most notable incidents or the spikes in taxi-related incidents occur around the festive season, and we see that they're mostly attributed to driver error, either it's reckless or negligent driving and so on and so forth, and we've oftentimes seen the question then raised that not a lot of accountability and blame is being put on the taxi drivers, but what exactly is SANTACO planning or intending to do to hold the drivers and associations beneath you guys accountable for ignoring some of the campaign safety rules or committing the usual offenses, really?
You've spoken about the issue of drivers being found to be fatigued, drivers being found not to have their seatbelts on, and many other sort of similar incidents are literally the focus that we are putting this year. And so what we're doing is, for instance, with the long distance drivers, we've made it compulsory to say that associations need to make sure that every vehicle that makes a long distance trip, especially if you're going to leave from a Johannesburg to an Eastern Cape, for example, or a Western Cape, they have to have temporary drivers. If they don't have a temporary driver, that car cannot make 2 trips in a day. So that's the sort of standardization that's been put in place. But look, so on our part, we can stretch it to the part of disciplinary proceedings where when the owner driver is found to have perhaps exceeded on a driver, then they also get to experience disciplinary proceedings that they have to undertake. But we appreciate that we're working closely with law enforcement, who have been really helpful in ensuring that they make sure that when a driver is found perhaps to have been overspeeding and so forth, we're asking them to never pardon them at any point. These issues of taking bribes and allowing a driver to proceed after they would have maybe driven recklessly or driven on the yellow lane or maybe having been driving with high speed has to stop. So it's a collaborative effort, Mongezi. On our end, the big part is the commitment that our associations have had to make, which if they don't comply with, then there will be the disciplinary proceedings, which could go as far as one's membership being revoked and perhaps a driver being removed completely. But in addition, there's also the aspect of the law enforcement where we'll allow for them to do their bit, ensuring that there's impartments if there is a need. The ARTO system is coming in sometime next year. That we're also hoping will add on to ensuring that there's much more higher compliance.
Well, Rebecca, that really encapsulates everything that I wanted to chat to you about. I mean, it's important that we do have the taxis ready and the taxis running properly on the roads, particularly during this festive season. Very important. Guys, that was Rebecca Phala, who's a spokesperson for SANTACO nationally, giving us some insight into a safer festive season on the roads.
Those trusty old shoes, there for your first move out of home. That marathon training that lasted a day, the quick runs to the store, the long nights out. Yeah, they've done the most for you. But with the street store, they can do even more for someone else. Visit thestreetstore.org to find out more about donating your pre-loved shoes and clothes to the world's first rent-free pop-up clothing store for the homeless. Donate before December 6, 2025.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a parent and a nervous but excited kid practicing her lines to put on a show-stopping performance at the school play. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a future superstar on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005. In proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
At Checkers, we do more so you get extra this Christmas with over 2 billion rand in festive savings. Like Parmalat Everfresh Long Life Milk, a 1 litre 6-pack for $89.99. And Twin Saver 2-ply white toilet rolls, 24-pack for $159.99. Plus, stand a chance to win your share of 7 million rand in prizes. Simply buy any 3 qualifying products and swipe your extra savings card to enter. Valid until Sunday with Checkers. T&Cs apply.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been quite an experience. My name is Mongezi Goko. I'm standing in for Mandy Wiener. I'm so glad for the interaction, and I hope that we can keep it up. It's going to be a jam-packed afternoon. I mean, I see that the Madlanga Commission has sort of taken a break. We saw the outcome, that judgment in the Caiphus Nyoka case. The motion of no confidence against Joburg Mayor Morero has been withdrawn, but there's still a lot to look out for. The ANC elective is going to go ahead. We're also going to see Senzo Mkhunu joining the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry at around 2 p.m. today. So a lot to uncover. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking.
This is EWN.
GDP increases in the third quarter, and 2 apartheid officers found guilty of student activist Caiphus Nyoka's murder. Good afternoon, I'm Maki Molapo. The country's economy expanded by 0.5% in the third quarter